Hello and welcome to this bonus episode of the History of Aviation podcast. I'm Derrick Beeler and I'm joined by Mr. David Rowe and Dave Gorman. And in this bonus episode, we're going to be talking to Greg Koontz with the 2024 Airshow Year in Review. Dave Gorman?
Well, hey everybody, good to rejoin you. It's been a little while, so we're happy to be back talking with you, and what a thrill again to talk to one of the most recognizable air show performers in the country. I can't remember the first time I saw our guest Greg Koontz, but I'm usually good for 3 or 4 times a year seeing him, which is more than most other performers. So just a fantastic workout that you put that decathlon through, and just do things. And I keep thinking that there's no way that plane should be able to hold up like it does. My favorite thing, I think, is when they come to you in the cockpit, you're like, yeehaw! Just living it up, and just having a blast. And anytime you get to do a job and have that kind of fun and bring that kind of joy and smiles to the people, I mean, everybody around me is laughing and loving it, and having a great time too. So again, what a thrill to have you back with us, Greg.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, just glad to have you here, and give us a little overview of your year so far. How did it go? What was exciting? What wasn't exciting?
It was an interesting year, that's for sure. It's one of the first years that we've operated without doing the comedy act, and we retired that the year before, so it was different, a different way of doing things. Instead of my crew chief driving the Piper Cub all over the country, and I arrived with the decathlon, the meeting there, we're riding together in the airplane, which puts, I'm trying to put enough of that airplane. We're used to having a trailer where we could carry, if you want to carry a golf cart with you, you carry a golf cart with you. You don't want a big toolbox, you did it. Yeah, now we're really getting frugal with our equipment. And what do we actually need to do this decathlon act? So it was interesting. Sometimes the plane kind of, okay, I don't want to get off the ground. We're gonna go, okay, but it's it was very different. Took some adjusting for us to do this year, and of course we were cutting back the number of air shows we wanted to do in a year. This my crew chief is. Well, Fred, he's just a great crew chief. He's 78. I mean, I'm 71. We're talking to be, then this is the old generic crew here, and there's time to slow it down a little bit, but still feel flying the decathlon the same as I always have. And we had a great season. Interesting venues. It's been fun. I really can't complain about any of it. It's fun to get around. It's even more fun to go to an air show and I don't have to put a Cub together.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Less
take it
work.
apart, and then it's been lovely. It's been a great year.
Well, good. I saw that you went to El Salvador. Did you fly the whole way there, or how did you get there?
Well, I definitely flew down there, but it was on Taka Airlines.
Okay.
I started doing air shows with them back in '97. It was right after a revolution they had down there, and rather nasty. And aviation had been totally bogged down for 10 years, so they were promoting aviation, and they wanted some performers to come down because they weren't flying, so they didn't have any performers. And so I went down, and the Northern Lights, remember them?
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yes.
a four-ship team with us with monoplanes, and good team. And we were the show down there, plus the stuff they put together, and that started it. But this year, I'm going again this year in January. It'll be my 29th time down to El Salvador. Yeah, wonderful place.
So do you truck the aircraft down there then, if you're not flying it in, or do you just?
I use their airplanes.
Okay.
The reason I got caught up with them in the first place that there was several decathlons down there, and they wanted somebody who could fly their decathlon, so they didn't have to take the airplane to go all the way down and back. And one of the main sponsor, Roberto Crete, who owns Talca Airlines was offering the transportation for whatever we needed, and they owned the motel, so they threw in the rooms. So it was best for them financially to use their airplanes and just pay me to come down and do it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a wonderful experience.
What kind of crowds do you get at those air shows?
Huge. Those people don't get anything like this. And when I went down there in '97, it was the first air show the country had ever had. Ever.
Wow.
Yeah. So they were, you could
Goodness.
do anything and they're just super excited about it, you know. The just the energy and the excitement has always been wonderful down there. If I could say this, I'll be cautious, but people get brought the wrong impression of countries south of the border sometimes. And they hear the bad news, they don't understand the good news. And El Salvadorians are lovely people. They're very family oriented, very religious, and very straightforward. Yes, they got bad people in the country. I think we do too, come to think of it.
Yeah.
But that's enough. But what I'm trying to say is it's wonderful to go down there and get a chance to see what the other half lives, what it's really like and not what people have told me it was like. And I got very good friends down there. They made me their ambassador to El Salvador and I got all kinds of performers down there. I talked Patty Wagstaff to going in down there and talked it's just a huge list of people. Gene Susi and people going, why would I want to go to El Salvador? Because you're gonna like it. Wonderful people, you know. They got a lot of just energy and they appreciate stuff and they're smarter than we make everybody believe they are. They're just good Christian family people, and it's been wonderful. It really has.
Well, and I think, like you said, they appreciate that you've come down there to perform for them, and that might be their one air show a year, if you know, and they make the most of it and are thrilled to interact with you and show some real joy and excitement.
Well, I'll tell you how good our relationship is. This year they can't find a decathlon for me to fly. But you know what they're doing? They're paying my way down there and all my expenses and the motel. Just come on down and hang out with us, Greg. I said, well, yeah, I'm gonna do it. You're my buddy.
Oh my.
I don't need to be paid to come down there and just hang around with you guys. That's great, you know. So it's fun. It's a warm feeling and friendly place.
Well, the air show is a family kind of situation. I mean, you create relationships across the country at all these shows you're going to. So this is just another family it's part of your greater family.
It is. You meet so many people, and it just gets so large. I can't even keep up with it all. I got an email today from someone who filmed Monroe. I don't know what kind of camera or anything, but he put together a little video of me flying and stuff. And he said his son did most of the filming, and it's really good. I mean, it's on Facebook. You know, if you're on Facebook, go to my site and look at the film because it's really good. I like it. You know, and this is just from a fan, just somebody just all excited about the airplanes flying and me going yee high over the radio, as you say. You know, it makes it all worthwhile. It really does.
Well, I really like it when you're up there at Monroe, you were talking about, I'm going to do a barrel roll. And you were talking about, you know, it looks simple, but it's not a simple maneuver. And that's the kind of thing that the general audience probably doesn't realize. And so you're giving them information as well as showing them, you know, what you're doing.
They all seem to appreciate it. I kind of picked up that style. I stole it from Jim Moser that I worked for in the 70s doing air shows. And he flew a Booker, and he didn't talk as much as I do, but he wasn't the flight instructor. We talked, you know. I can sit back and talk because that's what I do. But he'd go yee high and you know and say a few things while he flew. And I remember the energy that created. I didn't want to copy him at the time, but you know that's a long time ago. And poor Jimmy's just he's long gone. But I'll give him credit. He kind of taught me showmanship.
Well, I think that's a huge part of what you do. And, you know, you bring people into the cockpit with you and the contagion and joy that you still experience, you know, after flying for however many years you've been in the cockpit. there are people who I have no doubt have been inspired to learn to fly or maybe attend a lot more air shows because they saw you perform, they heard your joy, they got they got the bug.
Well, that's what performers get to do. I mean, and I wouldn't claim to be even the best at it or anything, but that's my goal is to inspire. Uh, my first air show was when I was 7 years old. My dad took me to Gadsden, Alabama, and it had some really good stars there. Dick Schramm, the comedy act, and uh, the what's it? Bevo Howard flew his Booker. He's an old famous Hall of Famer, and they had three Hall of Famers there. Bill Barber was the last one on that list. And Bill Barber, I won the Bill Barber Award in 2014 for showmanship. I'm thinking, and they asked me, do I have any pictures or anything from, the past you start? And I had my first air show at 7 years old. Bill Barber was in it, and they thought,
Oh.
yeah, this is going to be really cool when we give you the award. We'll have this picture, but it was actually Bevo Howard that inspired me because he took the time to talk to me. And we were it was after the show. He was standing next to his airplane, and my dad wanted me to meet him because he always admired him, and I didn't know who he was. I was 7 years old, but he talked to me. He didn't talk down to me. He talked straight to me, friendly and nice.
Yeah.
And answer my questions. He didn't go, oh, well, talk to me. I mean, talk to me like an adult. And, that's really important when you're 7 years old. The whole world is
Definitely.
overwhelming you. And here's somebody comes right down and talks to you eye to eye. And my dad and I were walking off the field at the end of the show. And after all that, and I told him, I said, I'm going to be an airshow pilot when I grow up. I never
No
lost
way.
fire. When I do air shows, I try to do that. You never turn down a kid. At Monroe, I got to tell this. At Monroe, they had a very enthusiastic crowd. I have to say that they were really into it. But after the show, my plane's parked outside of the ropes, and this girl's over there. I didn't know it. She's like 9, 10 years old, and she wants to talk to me. And the guys wouldn't let her across the ropes, because it's blocked off. And one guy came to me and said, this young lady over here is dying to talk to you. I tried to let her, you look busy. So I tried to get her to go to this other person. And she says, no, I want to talk to that guy in the red airplane. And she was so enthusiastic. So, she came out, she gave me a hug. She wanted everything I could sign. I found a big picture to give her because she had me going, sign that. And, when do you get to be someone's hero for the day? Listen, this just takes my ego, just fills it up, baby. Thank you, everybody. That's the fun of this business, It's a great feeling. It really is.
Absolutely. Well, I saw your partner was handing you a stack of cards to hand out as you walked down the flight line. So as soon as you got out of your plane, you were going straight for that flight line to meet the folks that had just watched you. So, that was obviously, that was your priority right there.
Well, I do it for me, baby. I can tell you what, when everybody's just scrambling and wanting to say hello and say nice things to you, that just feeds you, man. That feeds your heart, feeds your ego. I'm doing that for Greg.
Well, that's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
What other shows this year left an impression on you? You were in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Missouri. Any of those leave an impression?
Oh gosh, it's always a whirlwind. Even though we only did 12 shows this year, rather than our usual 22, because the comedy act is gone, and the ones that really particularly wanted that, of course, we kind of lost some of those. But
Right.
Decathlon's still popular. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll let the bad lie. We're not going to talk about that too much.
Right.
Well, we don't want to know. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to know. We don't put anybody down because usually, even when it goes bad, just because they're new at it, they need more experience. They make the standard mistakes that, if they go on to ICAST and gone to to the convention and gone to the forums, they would have learned a lot of stuff that would have saved a lot of mistakes. So I highly recommend the International Council of Air Shows to anybody who want to put on an air show. Go there and learn how to do it. Don't make the old mistakes. At least make your own mistakes and new ones maybe, but don't go learn what the old ones were so you can avoid them. But so
it's a resource.
It's usually shows that only been around a year or two. They haven't quite learned yet, but that was a great year. There was a lot of good shows. Of course, I obviously really enjoy Oshkosh and Sun and Fun. People tell me which one's your favorite. It depends on my mood. Obviously Oshkosh is more crowded and busy, but that's kind of cool too. Because everything's going on. But Sun and Fun is a little easier and laid back, and I like that sometimes better too. So I'm always like this. Which one do I really like the best? I can't say. They're both great, and they all do great stuff for aviation. Those two events are out to make aviation better for everybody, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You just, introducing more and more people to aviation and the things that, you can do with aviation. It's more than just, flying aerobatics or, flying in the military. There's tons of civilian stuff that you can do and just get people interested in it.
And you do. And like I said, both organizations have youth programs and stuff that promote aviation. Now, one that I've become involved in is Sun and Fun's the Aerobatic Center of Excellence. I don't know if you're all familiar with that, but it's a high school for kids to get into aviation. So
really?
You can go to the high school and not get into aviation, of course, but your electives are going to be aviation electives, maintenance or flying or all kinds of things. And then they have this subdivision of it. It's called the Lakeland Flying Club. And they're busy building and restoring Cubs and stuff like that. And so the kids can build an airplane, and they got supervisors with them, and they're seriously building airplanes. And if you help build the airplane, you can rent it. You can rent it for gas, and so the opportunities there are just remarkable. They don't teach people at the school. They're private for some, particular reasons, but they give them support to go to the local school and get it, and then they can come back and fly those airplanes if they want to stay involved. So Southern Fund is very involved in the next generation of pilots, and it's a great program. I even do a barbecue every year and raise funds for them with it, and the Mike. And his last name it always gets me. It's the Zulayak or something. Bless his heart, because it comes up and stays with me. I should do it better on mine here. But he runs it, does a great job of running it. He brings about 6 kids up here every year, and I give them upset training and spin training for free, and just my donation to their cause. But it's a great cause. If you ever want to look it up, it's the main thing Sun and Fun is involved in giving back and helping the next generation of pilots. Great program.
Well, anytime you can give kids a hands-on experience, that's going to leave a memory that doesn't go away. It gives them a reason to come back.
And we've had so much fun with it. When they come up here to their spin training and some upset training, we have a blast. Just good kids, they're smart and they're out to have a good time, but they listen and they're respectful, and it's great. It's a great generation of kids, and they have to work at it. It's not everything's given to them, but the expenses are low. But they expect you to do your share if you're going to get to fly the planes, especially. But that builds good character, and it works. It really works.
Well, and they probably have the the enthusiasm, the courage to do those things, step into that plane with you for the spin training. I'm thinking how I would deal with that. You'd hear me screaming without a microphone, I'm sure. But
I just don't spin someone today. I'm remembering it well.
But just them having that opportunity, that's fantastic. And they'll talk about that for a long time and hopefully follow through and find a career in aviation. But if nothing else, if they don't, the fact that they've been through those experiences at that early age just builds confidence. And when you think about sky's the limit and what can they do, those are great building blocks. So good for you. And thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, Santa Fun's a lot of fun for me. So that's one of the early air shows of the year. Let me see, what else did we do this year? You gotta get me thinking about it. I didn't know. I should have pulled out a list because it all melds together. I did the Fourth of July show at right at the Arch in St. Louis, and that was interesting. You got a bridge on both sides of that arch. The FAA wouldn't let you cross that bridge under 500 feet, and so we had to do our aerobatics really tight and get turned around to go back. And it was a challenge, but not for a decathlon too bad. Now bless his heart, Chuck Coleman was there and he did a good job. He had to fly an extra in the whole thing, and that worked him pretty hard. But we lost him a few weeks ago at an air show.
I was going to say, I remember hearing about that. That was awful.
Yeah, and if the viewers haven't been following all that, Chuck trained all the actors for the new Top Gun movie, and all of them got about 5 or 6 hours of training with him. All Tom Cruise's idea to do it that way. So, and he was really proud of that and took that very seriously. So, it's a shame so soon after that something tragic had to happen to him. It was my first time to ever meet him, and I followed him in the show because I was the next person after him. And so we coordinated a little bit. But I ended up going to dinner with him while we're there, and really nice, calm, kind of straight up guy. And he was super proud of working on that movie. He brought it up a lot for that reason. I get it. He wasn't bragging. He just was. He loved it. He loved what he did and what he got to do, and shared the stories about it and stuff like that. So that was an interesting show for me. Getting to know him. I was really happy. First time I'd ever met him to kind of add him onto my list of friends. I mean, in this business, sometimes that doesn't last.
No, well, and that's true of life in general. I mean, you meet people and they come and go, and there's reasons for it, and some are good, some are not. So that's unfortunate, but a great pilot, and I'm glad you had a chance to meet him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. Did a couple new shows this year. One in Tyler, Texas. It was new to me. It was new to them, really, because it's only the second time they'd done a show. But it was a good little show. There was a fundraiser show, which I like. And I did Dayton. Yeah, Dayton's a different story. Dayton has been doing the show for 50 years.
Right.
And that was their 50th anniversary. And I don't know if it made them hire me or not, but when I inquired about wanting to fly for them, I told them it actually my 50th year since my first air show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in May, it was 50 years. In 1974, I flew my first show for Colonel Moser's Flying Circus. And then they eventually hired me, and I flew for the Flying Circus for the next 8 years. But so they kind of like the idea, I think, of a 50-year-old air show pilot's going to fly the 50-year air show.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
well done.
The nice thing about these old shows, and Cleveland was the same way when I did it a year or so ago, they had a good program. They took notes and learned every year. So by the time they're at 50 years, they had a lot of old people working for them and some new, but they had a program for that to bring them in and train them, and they made all the mistakes, so they understood how to run an air show and a clean operation and a safe operation, and no funny business going on. And that was a delightful show to fly for. I hope I get it again some year, because it's a historic show, just like Cleveland was. You get to Cleveland, and they had a kind of an aging crew, but they knew exactly what they were doing and how to do it and make it work.
That's great.
And as a performer, that's very important. When you show up at a show and they really don't know what to do with you. They have stupid rules that aren't going to work. Well, you can't have your car out on the airfield. What am I going to do? Carry everything I got out a mile down the tarmac, and wait, if your airplane's got to stay here, and you got to be ready. So I'm going to stand in the sun with no car to get in and run the air conditioning, and no, think this stuff through. But the old air shows have been there, done that, and understand they got to figure it out. That's really nice for a performer, because it's all about safety, not about we're pre-bananas and get to be in an airplane and sit in our car. It's not that. It's hot out there.
Yeah. You don't want to be tired.
Definitely.
You need
sure.
a several hour stretch of time to be at the plane, because the air boss might need you to fly early, might need you to fly late, which happened at one of the shows that didn't want us to have the car out there. And I said, listen, we ended up being an hour and a half late, and it's hot out here. You want me to stand on the tarmac? I mean, forget about it.
Yeah, and those tarmacs are warm.
Oh, yeah, that's terribly unsafe. But the air shows finally learned. So I love the old shows. They know what they're doing. Tolerate the new shows and try to help them while we're there, but without trying to sound like the know-it-all.
Well, I mean, that's why you have those pilot briefings before the show, is to go over all these things and get yourself ready. And so everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't figure them out there till you go out and try to drive on the airport or something. They go, oh, I'll bet. Why do you want water on Friday? Friday's just practice day. We're furnishing water for the air show, which is Saturday and Sunday. You're kind of like, well, I get thirsty on Friday too.
I'm working hard.
Think these things through.
Absolutely.
God. So there's some of the pros and some of the cons of the year, but it's every year. It's always coming a lot that way.
Did you ever have any weather issues this year? I know at Monroe it was, overcast and a little cool, but was any other shows? It's always
cool in Monroe. I mean, when I did the comedy act there, I froze my ears off. With the door open. Oh man, it was so cold. I just put on a jacket and everything, hell with an overall outfit. I'm gonna get in something warm or freeze to death. But we had trouble getting to Monroe and trouble getting back. We made it about 3/4 away. I think with Greenwood, South Carolina, we had to spend the night, just get it on the ground and wait it out. Then get there to noon the next day, and then leaving. I didn't get out till a little afternoon, about 1 or 2 o'clock on this Monday morning to get back home. No tragedy. They furnished the motel. They're very Monroe's a sharp show. They know what they're doing.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're prepared for stuff like that. So they were very gracious and let's keep the rental car and stay another night, because we had to, and that kind of thing. That's kind of shows you love to fly for.
Yeah, well, they take care of you.
Yeah, it's a business, it's we're not prima donnas, we're performers, we're making a living like everybody else. Just because we like it doesn't make us bad people.
No, not at all. So do you do the same routine at every show? Do you vary it up a little bit? What's your performance schedule like? How do you do that?
Well, that's an interesting question. When you're going to fly low level, I mean, like, my the maneuver on the second half of my routine is I pull up vertical, quarter roll, Humpty over at about 1,300 feet, and then I snap the plane in a two and a half turn rotating, actually spin really, but pop it into that and then pop it out. You got to do that right. You got to do it regularly, and you just don't dare change it. It's the way that works. But
yeah.
The variable that we have the most trouble with is the inverted ribbon cut. Rough air. That you don't want to do it. Bounce the air and you try to hit the ribbon. You go all over the place.
Right.
Excuse me. And sometimes location doesn't have a good, clean place for me to do the ribbon cut. Mainly because sometimes sometimes they can't use the runway where it's level ground. And then once you fly out in the grass to do your ribbon cut, And if it's really smooth and even, that's fine. But sometimes it kind of rolls and bumps. That gets kind of tricky. So sometimes we alter what we're doing and like skip the inverted ribbon cut because we just don't think it's safe in that location. Because sometimes they make 500 feet from the crowd, they have to move the line off the runway and deeper and out in the grass. That's happened to me a few times this year, unfortunately. But yeah, you have to kind of play it. But normally you keep, like I was saying about the snap rolls on the way down, you keep it the same altitude, same speeds, so you've got the rhythm, you know what you're trying to do next. You don't go, well, I think today I'll add this and that to it. You fly the routine you practiced, and you practice the routine and you fly that routine.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, do you practice that routine? You're in the off season now. Is that something you'll practice during the winter time, or do you just barely fly a little bit?
A little bit. If I want to fly a little bit, I'll fly. But when it comes close to really the season starting, yeah, I get out and do some serious practice. The rest of it's just kind of keep it in tune. But yeah, you got to practice. I've been doing this for 50 years, so I don't have to go out there and spend day after day after day practicing or anything. But you got to make sure you're tuned up and ready, and you got your G tolerance back. You might over the winter not do much flying. It's one thing I have in my favor is I teach aerobatics year round, so I'm doing all this stuff constantly anyway. So I'm pulling 4.5 Gs regularly, and so it doesn't bother me. But you still need to practice what you're going to do. But
right.
So I live on a grass strip. It's 3,900 feet long and have my own aerobatic box. So I file a NOTAM and I go out and roll on takeoff if I want to. I'm legal. So I don't have to go off. A lot of people don't have that luxury. So practice is hard to come by, to go find a box and then you can borrow, and then you might be hours away. And so mine, it's right here. So I can go outside and
Can't
practice.
beat that.
You can't beat it. I've been very fortunate.
How's next year shaping up so far?
We rarely. I got a couple of shows talking to me. I'll probably get, but everybody looks to make their final decisions when they get to the ICAS convention, and I'm only trying to do about 12, so I'll probably be able to do that dance card okay. But
Sure.
whatever. I've been mentoring some people along that and promoting some decathlon drivers along to come along in the business, and I think that's what I should be doing at my age. But of course, some of them are taking my shows.
Uh-oh.
You've created your own competition there, haven't you?
I really have, and that's fine. I'm doing great.
Moving it along for the next generation.
That's what I'm into right now. I've had 50 years of doing this. I've had an American Champion Aircraft has been my wonderful sponsor. Just a short story. I was a corporate pilot for 26 years, and first of that career, I didn't have the money to even have an airplane, but I finagled a way to get a partner, get a decathlon in '93, and got back into airshow flying again. And so I did that until 2003, and it was starting to go pretty good. And I decided when my kids were out of college and I could afford the risk, talk with my wife because she had a good job, she could keep the medical insurance, and I wanted to quit my corporate flying job and go full time with my instructing and my air shows. And that was tough. It's scary, but 3 months into it, just 3 months, I'm trying to do that, wondering how the hell this is going to come out. American Champion Aircraft, Jerry Melhoff, who runs it, called me up and said, "Hey, Greg, here you're full time." And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to try to do air shows full time and do my school." I was still freelancing some, corporate aircraft, and when they needed a co-pilot or something. But I was basically quit the real paying job, the one that sent me a check every week. And they said, "Well, we want to sponsor you." Okay. Well, long story short, They made me a deal I couldn't refuse. So it's 20 years now. I've been sponsored by American Champion, and they do me well. And of course, I supplement with some other money I make at the shows or teaching. But I don't think I'll never know if I would have made it without them, because it we didn't have a ton of money, but I was going to go on my own and try because my kids were in college and that was paid for. And but they made it click for me. I was really a full-time professional airshow pilot then. It's 20 years now that I've been working with them, and it's a great outfit. They make a beautiful airplane. They knew I was in love with their airplane. I've been flying the Cathlons and Citabras since 1972.
Wow.
Gonna have to do the math for me, but I love the product, and it's been a wonderful run. So giving back to some other kids. I know one day I'm gonna have to hand that my sponsorship down to somebody. Just like Tucker did. I mean, he moved on. Or Wayne Hanley when
Yeah.
Tucker, gave it to Tucker. Or, I mean, that kind of thing. I'm not comparing myself to them directly, but I'm just saying that's what we need to do in this business. You got to go in good. There's a point in time, let the new people in. It's
Hey,
important.
Greg, I have a question about your equipment here with your long relationship with Decathlon and everything. And I think, is it Hartzell propellers
Yeah.
still? Okay. Has there ever been any changes that you've recommended or suggested just from the way you fly the aircraft? Some things that you may have suggested that could have been modified, or things that from your experience that they've changed in their aircraft that they sell?
Well, I couldn't say they changed anything in particular just because of me. Uh, that'd be that wouldn't really be true in anything I could think of.
Okay.
But yes, they've made improvements that I was whining about along the way, And I don't really have many left to whine about. It gets very nitpicky now, but they're hand-built airplanes. They're not just stamping them out. Every airplane's made to the customer's order of what they can certify to do with the airplane. But they only make 24 airplanes a year with all the Citabras and Scouts and Decathlons. And so everyone's custom built for each customer. And that takes a long time. They're terrible about being on time with the airplanes because, I mean, they're serious about what they're doing, and they're not going to let anything get by that isn't really up to par. I will say I whined about the airlines for a long time. And they finally changed the ailerons to a symmetrical aileron in 2013, which made the airplane lighter. And that's why they did it. They wanted the airplane lighter. The symmetrical aileron doesn't require the plates on the top and bottom to secure the air. Doesn't require the spades anymore. So it saved a lot of weight, and that's why they did it. But they took the rate of roll from 90 degrees a second to 120 degrees a second with a little snappier feel to it. And I like it. It made a very lovely airplane out of already a good airplane. And I like the 210 horsepower. When I went through 7 of them, they make me a new airplane every year. And so I went through 7 of those, but went back to the Super, just really marketing reasons. People, the Extreme is more expensive, and people will spend that much money on a brand new spanking new airplane. They don't want one that's used. I have to sell every one I get. I have to sell at the end of the year, and it's got a little harder to sell the higher priced Extreme. So that kind of affected how easy it was for me to move on year to year with them. But I miss the airplane. It's a great airplane. Horsepower is always lovely. You gotta like it.
Well, thanks to you, I think they should always be red. And I'm pretty sure in the last year
There's a
I
lot
saw
of red
one that
ones
was
out
blue.
there.
Yeah, I saw one though that was blue, and I'm like, that doesn't look right. That's
Well,
as far
this
as
is
I'm
my
concerned, they should all be red.
The airplane you got pictured, not 90 Golf Kilo, but the other one you got pictured this from Monroe. That's my 20th airplane.
Wow.
Yeah. They build a new one for me every year. It's nice having a new airplane with them. It really
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Oh,
And they've gotten so cool with stuff. The carbon fiber floors, the glass panels in them. They move the switches from over the window to right there in front because the glass panel doesn't take up near the room that all the other stuff used to take. And all those little improvements are just a little every year, but they add up. There's the luggage compartment door. Holy cow. I'll never buy one again without the luggage compartment door on it. I mean, I'm pretty big. When I try to climb over the back seat and get to the battery, it drives me crazy. But now you can just open a door and you're right there. I mean, good grief, it's wonderful. So there's just the way they powder coat the airframes now. It's really, really first class. So every year it's a little something, and they're wonderful airplanes.
constant improvement. That's the sign of somebody that's paying attention to the details.
Well, it's a family affair. I mean, it really is. You go to the factory and they'll give you a tour. Anytime you want a tour, just arrange it with them. And they're more than happy to walk you around and show you from piles of metal all the way to an airplane over here when they get through. But you can tell it's a family affair. That the people who work there stay there. They love what they're doing. They're proud of what they're doing. And so they're both like I said, all handmade airplanes. And these guys are craftsmen. They're not just stamping out airplanes. They really take a lot of care in them, and you can see it. You really can. Nice airplane.
Absolutely. Well, I have a question. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, I'll go quick. Greg, are any of your former aircraft on display anywhere? In a museum or at an airport or anything on display?
No, they just get worn out, but pilots bought them from me.
Oh, okay.
I thought about donating my J3 Cub to the Southern Museum of Flight, and I don't know, maybe I should have done that or not. I sold it to somebody who really wanted it, but I don't know. I kind of bounced that back and forth. Should I do that? I'm not that presumptuous that somebody be all impressed with looking at my airplane in a museum, I guess, but
don't sell yourself short.
Well, thank you.
There are a lot of people that have enjoyed seeing you fly, and I know when I'm in the Smithsonian and I see Bob Hoover's plane, I'm just like, wow. I saw that fly for years, and it's a thrill. The Crested Eagle, some of those planes that are on display around the country. It's a lot of great memories. So don't sell yourself short.
Smithsonian wanted my airplane, they probably could have had it. As you walk through the Smithsonian out there at the airport, if you go to the general aviation area, there's a picture. It's pretty big of me doing an inverted ribbon cut, but my name's not even on it. It was just a good picture, so they used it.
but it's there.
But I'm in there.
You're in there. Exactly.
That's right.
Don't Tucker just eat your heart out. I'm in there too.
Yeah, we all love that. The museums, hard to beat. Matter of fact, I just drove by that Southern Museum of Flight a couple of weeks ago on a trip to Florida, just to go see the Blackbird that they've got there. So I was just by that museum not long ago.
The former curator of the Southern Museum of Flight is Jim Griffin. And I taught him how to fly 50 years ago.
Wow.
In fact, he just got his Wright Brothers award, for ancient pilots, whatever it is. I've got the award too, but it's you just survive 50 years, you get the award. It's Master Pilot Award. That's what it's called. He just got that, but Jim really did a good job with that museum, and not saying anything wrong about the guys running it now, because I do, he's doing great stuff too. But Jim was just a good friend of mine, and I taught him how to fly. He did a wonderful job getting a lot of stuff going on there.
Well, that's awesome. So you've mentioned barbecue a couple of times, and I see on your schedule you have a barbecue fly-in. What do you like to cook? What kind of barbecue do you make?
Well, I make the check that pays for the caterer to bring the barbecue.
Okay.
We used to cook. We really did. We used to cook, but it really got too big. When I was doing an air show with it, we got up to 500 people coming, and that's just over my head to cook that much
Oh,
stuff.
Yeah.
So when it was getting that big, I got a
Wow.
guy to come in and do the cooking. That was a pretty cool guy, and he cooked right on site. He's gone, so I now do a place called Local Joe's, which is a popular catering barbecue place in Gadsden, Alabama, near me. But it's what I order is pulled pork and spare ribs, not baby back ribs. I don't. Baby back ribs are just fine. They taste just fine. But oh, Southern boy, if it doesn't have all that fat on the end and the regular spare ribs, that it's just not a rib to me.
gotcha.
Yeah. And of course, banana pudding. Got nanner pudding. Got to have nanner.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
Oh,
You know,
now
that's
you're
why
making me hungry.
what I'm doing with that barbecue is I had to stop the air show part of it because the regulations of the FAA and crash, fire, and rescue weren't really. I wouldn't really be up to par on that because we can't get to all parts of the box in 60 seconds, which is the requirement. I see that cheated on quite a bit. I'm not going to name any air show names, but I've seen a lot of shows. I know they can't get them all everywhere in 60 seconds, but that's not my problem. I'm not getting into their problems. I'm just not going to be the one that if something happened and they can't get to them in time, that's on me. So I decided
Yeah.
to quit the air show. And but the purpose of the fly-in is I'm raising money for the Aeronautical Center of Excellence for Sun and Fun. So
Okay, yeah.
I charge a lot for the food to remind everybody it's because this is a fundraiser. I'm not going to charge $5 for lunch. We're charging $20 for lunch, and hopefully we'll at least half of that will go straight to them, and after I pay for the food, and it works about that way. So we usually write a pretty good little check for them every year. That's not the biggest check they've ever seen, but they're just one of my causes I'm into. So that's what we're doing with it, and we have fun. We have a great little bomb dropping contest. It's a tomato bombing contest. So
Oh,
everybody
wow.
our bonds. I got a big old pond in front of my house. So we take a pretty big inner tube and put an orange target on the middle of it. And everybody flies over a tomato and drops the tomato. Of course, if you miss the inner tube, it goes kuthoop, kuthoop, about 10 feet high. Everybody just laughs their tail off watching everybody do that. It's fun. So we have a good time.
Well, that's fabulous.
That's awesome.
And for a good cause.
And for a good cause. We got some skydivers to come every year for free and help us out. And we drop ping pong balls with numbers on it for the kids, our door prize and that kind of thing. And we drop them out of the cub and they fall everywhere and the kids will all run out. I let one of the skydivers drop the ping pong balls this year out of the cub, and he wasn't even on my property when he dumped them out. He said, "I thought they were gonna sail down like a bomb and go forward." I said, "No, the ping pong balls, they're gonna go and fall straight." So they had to climb a fence to go get the ping
Oh,
pong.
wow.
And a little secret about that, I make sure I've got enough prizes that every kid actually wins something.
Right. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
give an X, and some of them can't find an X. Oh, I just happen to have an extra here, So it's all for fun. We make sure no kids crying because they didn't get a prize. Just having
No,
a good
you don't want that.
yeah.
Well, that's fabulous. Well,
Well, Greg,
good feelings.
it is definitely. Greg, we appreciate you joining us on the podcast again.
Well, thanks for having me. It's just been a good old chat. I enjoyed it. It really has. Let's do it again sometime.
We'll do it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
we'll do it soon.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll see you somewhere at a show somewhere in 2025. Can't wait.
I sure hope so. I'm hoping I'm at the show you want to go to.
But where can folks get with you on social media and on the internets?
Yeah, I'm mostly on Facebook right now.
Mostly on Facebook.
I'm in the process of upping my social media. I'm an old guy and that kind of thing. I'm so on, but I've made some real investments in that to step that up this next year. Those cameras aren't cheap, but anyway,
No.
mount of the airplane but anyway, so we're going to up that some. I am on Facebook. I did post a nice little film today from Monroe Airshow that you got to watch. Go to my website. I mean, my Facebook site, just Greg Koontz.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy put together a cute little film of us flying. I really liked. And and let's see, Facebook, and you mentioned my website.
Yeah, your
Yes,
website. Yeah.
it's gkairshows.com. And if you find the buttons, just look for the buttons. There's lots of pictures in there and stuff that's you can kind of file through and enjoy that, and plus understanding my flight school if you're interested in the aerobatic school or not. But otherwise, there's just some good old pictures in there you can pull up and look at, and some things they'll lead you to some other places like YouTube and stuff for movies. So
Okay. Yeah, we'll put all that in the description below the podcast so folks can go right to that. And you can find David Rowe over on Aerophile. David?
Yes, you sure can. I have got a ton of stuff coming up. I'm working through, I think I took over 5,000 pictures in a week from a couple of air shows and a couple of museums and a battleship. So I have got a backlog to fill my aerophile.com, Facebook, Instagram, website, YouTube. I'm going to be busy all winter long.
Holy cow.
He's got. It sounds like he's got a couple of SD cards full. What do you got going on, Dave Gorman? Social media.
Well, I'm just kind of sad, after Oshkosh, it's been a slow decline the rest of the year. So I just go back and look at my pictures from Oshkosh and think about what was. I don't have any new videos up anytime soon, but I can't wait to take some more and put them up there. Gormania is my YouTube channel, and lots of aviation, some music, a few dogs even. You can't go wrong with that combination, right?
You cannot
Absolutely.
go wrong. Greg, we appreciate it. Greg Koontz.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll say hi when we see you next time.
All right, guys. Be good.
Definitely will do.
Take care.
Big thanks to our special guest, Greg Koontz, for David Rowe, Dave Gorman, Shay Jones producing. I'm Derrick Beeler. Thanks for listening to the History of Aviation podcast.